and welcome to another brand new edition of Colors of India, our weekly show where we get you a roundup of some important cultural events in the week gone by. I'm Teena. Let's begin the program with glimpses of events we've covered for you during the past week. First up on the show today, a Kathak recital. Next, an art gala showcasing works inspired by Delhi and its architecture. And then, our weekly focus on regional films. Let's take you first to an evening of classical dance and music. The Ibtida Music and Dance Festival returned with its 5th edition this year. Noted artists of the classical genre performed at the event, one among them being Vidushi Prerna Shrimali. The legendary Kathak exponent of the Jaipur Gharana enthralled the audience with her solo recital. Here are some glimpses from her mesmerizing performance.
Kathak exponent Prerna Shrimali created magic on stage with her brilliant performance and stunning expressions at the 5th Ibtida Music and Dance Festival. Prerna Shrimali is a senior dancer of Jaipur Gharana of Kathak. She was initiated in Kathak dance by Gauri Shankar. Later, she received her training in dance from Guru Kundan Lal Gangani. She is also a recipient of Sangeet Natak Academy's award for the year 2009. She has won the hearts of her spectators with her graceful moves and brilliant Abhinay skills. Prerna opened her recital with traditional Kathak and Teen Tal. The Kathak dancer breathed life into every piece she presented, but the best was Teen Tal. She also performed on ghazals of eminent poet Mirza Ghalib. On stage, she was joined by Fateh Gangani on tabla, Murad Ali Khan on sarangi, Fateh Ali Khan on sitar and Sandeep Gangani on vocal. The senior Kathak exponent of Jaipur Gharana says that traditional Kathak is losing its relevance these days, and it is important for us to preserve our tradition.
मैं कथक का पारंपरिक पक्ष प्रस्तुत कर रही हूँ क्योंकि मेरे ख्याल से इस समय की बहुत ज़रूरत है कि लोग अपनी ट्रेडिशन को थोड़ा सा याद रखें और क्योंकि उससे हम अलग हटते चले जा रहे हैं, इसलिए स्पेशली मैंने यही सोचा है कि मैं पारंपरिक पक्ष प्रस्तुत करूँगी और उसके साथ में एक गज़ल पर भी कुछ अभिनय मैं करूँगी.
Mesmerizing Kathak dance in Teen Tal left the audience delighted and received much applause. The classical moves recreated the magic that any Kathak enthusiast would enjoy. Vandana Kumari, Rajya Sabha TV.
A recipient of the Sangeet Natak Academy Award, Prerna Shrimali is among the leading Kathak dancers today. A versatile dancer, she has evolved an individual style in her presentation and in the process gained wide popularity as a solo dancer. She believes Kathak is all about virtuosity and grammar is its soul. We hope you liked her truly mesmerizing performance at this event. And with that, time for a short break on the program. Lots more coming up ahead on the other side. Do stay with us. When we return, we take you to a solo art show by artist Alka Jham. Welcome back after the break. And let's now take you to a unique art show, Nature of the City by artist Alka Jham. Inspired by city life and its architecture, her works bring to the canvas the chaotic and explosive energy of Delhi. Take a look.
At Sridharani Gallery at Triveni Kala Sangam in Delhi, artist Alka Jham displayed some impressive artworks and fascinating paintings inspired by the city and its architecture. Alka is a Delhi-based artist. She has been working for the last 2 decades at Triveni Kala Sangam under the guidance of Rameshwar Bruta. This was her 4th solo show, titled Nature of the City. The exhibition showcased different versions of the city and its lost landscapes. Alka takes inspiration from objects around her. She says there is an art in everything.
This show is Nature of the City, in which I have tried to capture different versions of a city, like the lost city, the city on the edge, the lost landscapes and all. Basically, whatever we see around ourselves, we see art in everything which we see. And our journey starts from there with our paintings. It's just a starting point. Rest, I do everything on the canvas.
On display were as many as 21 paintings depicting architectural forms. To give her artworks a 3-dimension view, Alka used a variety of experiments with coffee coatings and stains apart from conventional mediums like oil and acrylic and mixed media.
I think what I've liked in the recent show is her frame of mind. She's done a lot of intellectual, she's taken a lot of angular works in her works, which is depicting the city life as she is seeing into it. And I like the forms, the angulars. I think they are very well articulated.
To create a sense of three-dimensional view, Alka not only used pure geometric lines and forms, but also a high relief or bas relief on her canvas with the use of sunboard, ply and other such material to create a new level. These elements lend her work an added dimension that plays upon the surface of the canvas and takes the work into another realm. In one of her work on wood titled Above and Beneath, Alka worked on both levels to give it a three-dimensional effect.
We have seen Alka is working, since long, and when it's all together, it is really great to, great feeling to see that. So, of course, she has taken architectural views, and she applied so many things. You see, the sand and the generally people works only in one media, colors, but she has done several mediums. Like she has worked with the coffee, she has worked with sand, she has worked with ply.
The exhibition was an abstract approach by the artist to architecture. In Alka's works, much like all the artists who choose to paint architectural forms, buildings are protagonists that show embodiment cultural and social concepts. Her canvases reverberated several parts of cities like skylines, buildings, streets and the main structural specifications of cities or the urban landscape. Vandana Kumari, Rajya Sabha TV.
Derived mostly from coffee tones, browns and sepia, the paintings by Alka Jham use sunboard and plywood to create an added dimension to the architectural forms on her canvas. We hope you like this unique show of her artworks. And with that, time for another quick breather on the show. Still more coming up ahead. Don't go anywhere. On the other side of the break, our focus on regional cinema. Welcome back once again. Time now for our weekly segment on cinema, where we celebrate its diversity. In our film segment this week, we focus on Bengali cinema. Film critic Shantanu Roy joins us on the show today. He will be reviewing two recently released films in Bengali. Welcome to the show, Mr. Roy, and over to you.
Thank you, Teena. In this session on discussion about Indian cinema, I am privileged to review on two Bengali cinemas. In this account, our first film is Ghore Baire Aaj. Ghore Baire Aaj is directed by Aparna Sen and released on 15 November 2019, which was world premiere on 18 July 2019 under an Indian Panorama category in 10th Jagran Film Festival.
আমার খুব ভয় করছে আমার কাছে পাক্কা খবর আছে ওখানে ঝামেলা লাগতে পারে
এতদিনের বন্ধু আমরা
হ্যাঁ কিন্তু আজকাল আমরা অনেক দূরে সরে গেছি
আমি জানি না বাচ্চাটা কার
This is a contemporary adaptation of Rabindranath Tagore's classic novel Ghore Baire, which was already brought into celluloid by Satyajit Ray himself in 1984. But Aparna Sen has adapted only the basic construction of the story and the relation between the main three protagonists. This plot is based in Delhi and it's about modern Indian politics. When you look into the story, there is a complex love triangle between Nikhilesh, Brinda and Sandeep. Apart from this, a political confliction between Nikhilesh and Sandeep, where Nikhilesh by profession who is an online publishing editor and who is a liberal kind of a person and believes in secularism. There Sandeep is a rightist basically who was previously was an extremist and then converted himself into the right-wing supporter. A real politic. Nikhilesh by Brinda basically from the Dalit class of Jharia and that coal mine region and grew up with the modern education and then a house proud lady of Nikhilesh. But after that she got engaged in an extramarital relationship with Nikhilesh's friend Sandeep.
বৃন্দা
সন্দীপ জি
আবার জিফি কেন সন্দীপ
Jishu Sengupta played the role of Sandeep, Anirban Bhattacharya as Nikhilesh and young Tuhina Das as Brinda or Bimla. Jishu Sengupta is more experienced in his acting career than the other two, but the screenplay and the screen performance obviously is so tuned that all the three main lead characters performed equally outstanding while they are sharing their screen. Ravi Ranjan Moitra, the editor of this film, has given his ideal support to the director. Their Neil Datta's music is successful incorporation for this film.
चमके पवन चलती छाए बदरा कारे कारे चाय बदरा चाय बदरा चाय बदरा
According to me, Ghore Baire Aaj is Aparna Sen's political consciousness as well as her, the appealing to their emotional attachments as well.
এবার বাইরে যা ছিল সব পুড়ে ছাই হয়ে গেল কিন্তু মনের ভেতরে যা রয়ে গেল সেগুলোকে পোড়াবে কেমন করে
Now let's move to our next film, Bohoman. This is directed by Onumita Dasgupta. Bohoman is a love story, but not a typical love story what we regularly used to see. Also, we do not used to see such numbers of extremely talented actors and the technicians in one film.
সেলিম
It's just a nearness of you.
50 বছর আমার কোনো খোঁজ নাওনি তুমি সেলিম 50 বছর
In this story, Selim and Madhuri come across after a separation of 50 long years. This character Selim is done by Soumitra Chatterjee, and Soumitra Chatterjee has is an iconic touch in this film. Their Madhuri's character is done by Aparna Sen, and who was really very charming in this screen. Then quite naturally in this loving relationship, Madhuri's son Shubroto, the character's name here, Shubroto doesn't accept his mother's relation with her young age crush, and there Shubroto's character is done by Bratya Basu, and you see how brilliantly he just bring life into that character. There Shubhrata's wife Joita, this role has done by Orpita Chatterjee with such modern philosophy about life and relationship. Of course, this character Joita raises her, the questioning about this over-conservation of the society. But the mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationship in this film is so lovely.
সেলিম খান কি
কি সুন্দর দেখাচ্ছে তোমার মা যদি তার প্রেমিকের সঙ্গে একসাথে থাকতে চান তাতে অসুবিধাটা কোথায়?
তাহলে তারপর কি পুত্রের অনুমতি দরকার?
Cinematography is just good enough to be acceptable. Pandit Tanmay Bose music is we are not getting much uses of music in this film, but the Rabindra Sangeet Keteche Akela is so relaxing here in this film.
আকাশ কুসুম চয়নে সব পথ এসে মিলে গেল শেষে.
Sound design by Anup Mukherjee and Bishwadev Banerjee. The editing is done by Argo Komal Mitro, and they all done impeccable work. Hence Anumita Dasgupta's film Bohoman is an honest approach to the audience of Bengali film industry.
Well, thank you, Mr. Roy, for joining us on Colors of India this week and presenting your review on these two films by Aparna Sen and Anumita Dasgupta. So that's it from us in this film segment this week. We'll shift focus to some other regional films in our next week's edition. For the moment, let's take a look at the culture calendar of the week. A musical journey, Gan Yatra, will be held at Courtyard Kuta, Malhar Road, Bengaluru, 6 p.m. on 21st December. An evening of Kathak dance Prayas is scheduled to take place at the Kumari Auditorium in Delhi, 6:45 on 19th December. The 33rd Margazi Mahotsav 2019 will be held at Sri YGP Auditorium down south in Chennai, 7:30 p.m. on 22nd December. And Mumbai will host the Pravah Dance Festival at the Experimental Theatre, NCPA Nariman Point, 6:30 p.m. onwards on the 19th of December. And with that, I'll have to wrap up this edition of Colors of India, but we'll be back same time next week with more on the cultural front. In case you missed the television broadcast of our program, you can also watch it online on YouTube and Twitter, and you can also leave behind your feedback and suggestions about our program. Take good care of yourself and see you again next week.